Today, we'll be presenting on Organovo's NovoGen MMX bioprinter, a new medical device in the tissue engineering market. Tissue engineering combines the fields of medicine, biology, and engineering to create solutions for damaged biological tissues. As you can see, the projected growth for this industry is quite large over the next 5 years. The two main impetuses behind the growth are high prevalence of chronic diseases and trauma injuries and advances in the medical technology fields. Despite the projected success of tissue engineering, challenges such as high cost, adverse immune response, ethical issues, and regulatory barriers should also be considered. The tissue engineering market has many stakeholders, which are typically found in the healthcare industry. Those unique to the tissue engineering market include scientists and engineers responsible for delivering the technology and funding agencies who offer the financial groundwork. Moving to the market segmentation, we have concluded that an application segmentation is the best approach because it dictates how the market is segmented in other ways. The three largest segments are shown in the top row. However, we believe that BCC's analysis was incomplete because they only included segments with therapeutics currently on the market. Government regulations and ethical issues are two of the challenges I mentioned in a previous slide that double as non-market forces influencing the industry. Government regulations in the U.S. market follow a two-level approach separating regulatory provisions for donor cells from provisions on the device itself. Ethical issues have largely been ameliorated with the advent of the umbilical cord stem cells. Now that we have an understanding of the tissue engineering market, we can narrow our focus to bioprinting. Bioprinting is a segment of the tissue engineering that uses architecturally and compositionally accurate cell constructs to build tissues, blood vessels, and organs that are both viable and functional. Bioprinting is an innovation that can be classified according to the problem it solves. For problems that have prior solution, the innovation will be breakthrough or even game changer. For problems which bioprinting offers a solution better than the current market therapeutics, the innovation would be better classified as disruptive. If we break down tissue engineering by components, bioprinters would fit into the tools segment. We can further break down bioprinters into an application segment. Currently, drug discovery and tissue engineering research hold a lion's share of the market. Organovo Holdings, Inc., founded in 2007, is an early commercial stage company focusing on developing and commercializing its fully cellular 3D bioprinted human tissues. The company currently offers two different services, both of which are typically sold to pharmaceutical companies for drug discovery and testing. The main challenges for Organovo will be adoption of their technology, and to address this challenge, the company should focus on the demands of these four stakeholders. And now I will hand it off to Ned, who will talk more about Organovo's market strategy.
All right, thanks, Josh. All right, so Organovo's domestic market strategy revolves around its first mover advantage. So Organovo is currently engaged in establishing their market position, anticipating potential future entrants into the market, as well as increasing barriers to entry in order to cement their holdings. Using its positional advantage, Organovo has thus far partnered with key pharmaceutical and cosmetic companies such as Merck and L'Oreal to provide their engineered tissues for R&D purposes. As the first mover in an emerging market, Organovo, if successful, would enjoy overwhelming competitive advantage, quarter key resources, and be well positioned to influence other players in the market. Studies show that future entrants into the market capture an exponentially smaller market share, beginning with 70% of the first mover share for a second entrant. The downside to this strategy, of course, is that Organovo must shoulder higher R&D costs, as well as burden of advertisement and promotion to drive adoption of the technology. Its later rivals may take advantage of Organovo's efforts unless they employ proper defensive strategies, such as increasing barriers to market entry and maintaining a flexible and responsive business model. Organovo is currently focused on its domestic U.S. market, but they've also begun to explore international options through contract distribution. Currently, Organovo is partnered with Cosmo Bio of Japan to distribute their liver and kidney testing services. In the future, Organovo plans to further expand into the Asian market due to its high concentration of global pharmaceutical companies in a small space. And I'll hand it off to Amery, who will discuss the business model.
Thanks, Ned. So we'll be using the metrics from Business Model Canvas to analyze Organovo's business model. Starting off with customer segmentation, currently 11 out of 25 pharma companies are Organovo's customers, including Merck, Roche, L'Oreal, and etc. The proposition for Organovo's customers is that NovoGen-generated products more closely resembles natural human tissues compared to animal derivatives and 2D cell cultures. There are two distribution channels. First, Organovo distributes their tissue products directly to its customers. Second, Organovo partners up with a Japanese distributor called Cosmo Bio Co. to distribute their products in the Asian market. Its revenue is coming from federal grant, product sales, research service agreement, and collaborative research agreements. When it comes to its key partners, there are academic institutions such as Harvard Medical School, UCSF School of Medicine, and international distributors and human cell supplier, which is one of Organovo's subsidiaries. Organova's key activities include research collaborations, its tissue product promotion, and most importantly, research and development. Scientists and live human cells are two key resources for Organovo. In terms of cost structure, SG&A costs account for the majority costs, which include costs associated with marketing, patent, legal services, and regulation. They also have heavy R&D spending of $18 million in 2016. When it comes to performance, Organovo currently maintains a dominant position in the bioprinter market with 25 issued patents and over 19 pending patent applications. In regards to the NovoGen bioprinter, there are 3 issued U.S. patents protecting the technology. The company is not making profits yet. Its R&D cost has increased by 40% to $18 million in 2016, but its revenue is expected to increase to $3.7 million to $4.5 million in 2017. And now I'll hand it off to Ananth, who will outline our suggestions for Organovo moving forward.
Hey there. In terms of improvement, Organovo should move from its current business model towards growing the sales of its NovoGen bioprinter line rather than providing custom tissue engineering and proprietary tissues. While its current service generates the majority of its revenue, it's unlikely that this service will scale after waves of regulatory approval for other companies' bioprinted tissues. Companies will aim to produce their own tissue candidates and will need avenues and printers for mass production. Our first suggestion falls under the financial health and consumer base. By 2016, Organovo generated a cumulative net loss of $150 million, and their R&D costs increased by 40% within the year. Market inertia slowed the sales of their liver tissue model, XVA3D. Organovo needs additional financing but wants to avoid more equity securities because they dilute its current shares. We recommend that Organovo pitch its bioprinters to research hospitals and surgeons to lobby through interested providers and pursue the parallel review process to expedite FDA and CMS regulation. It's a long shot, but Organovo could also expand its printer line to include non-biologic 3D printers, whose products would receive expedited FDA approval. The company can lay foundations for distribution channels that will help its NovoGen line once regulatory environment becomes more conducive for biologic printing. Our next suggestion deals with the cost and scaling of NovoGen MMX production capabilities. 3D bioprinting is great for small, customized production runs, but suffers in large-scale printing, so Organovo must address pre-production costs. 3D bioprinters require model files to be sliced effectively to minimize wasteful printing. On top of that, improving utilization of the build room would require a supply of human cells. Organovo currently works with its own subsidiary, Samsara, to obtain these, but harvesting these cells is expensive. We recommend that they produce CAD software to automate the slicing of 3D biological models, increase the build area and extrusion rate of printer heads to allow faster simultaneous production, and contract Samsara sales at discounted rates for the purchasers of NovoGen bioprinters. While this will put Samsara's operations at lower profit margins, the increased sales of NovoGen printers and sales of cells to those purchasers will compensate for this. Our last suggestion addresses the structural integrity of bioprinted products. 3D bioprinted products carry structural weaknesses due to vertical structural asymmetry in layer-by-layer buildup processes. This will lead to longer FDA approval processes and greater failure in clinical scenarios, particularly for epithelial substitutes such as skin. Organovo should create software and hardware add-ons to NovoGen that test tensile, compressive, torsional, and shear strength of its tissue substitutes, or manufacture a separate line of tissue inspection tools to quantify tissue quality metrics in live with the printing. That will be all. Thank you for your time, and we'll take any questions now.